So I grew up in nature, in a tiny little forest. But in my eyes, it seemed to be as wild and as big as the Amazon. I remember feeling connected with every living being, with the plants, the trees, the ants, the bees, the flowers. I remember holding their leaves against the sun in awe of how similar their texture seemed to be with my own skin. I remember watching colorful strings weaving all things, including me, together. But then time went by, and stuff happened. I moved to big cities for studies and work, and slowly, quietly, and seemingly painlessly, I disconnected. The colorful strings faded away, the ants, the bees, the leaves eventually stopped talking to me. I hadn't realized the extent of my detachment until one morning about 2 years ago, when I was reading the news of how our rainforests around the world are being destroyed, and I felt nothing. By the time I finished reading, I knew something had gone wrong. Where did my love and compassion for nature go? If I'm feeling nothing, I thought, then others might be feeling nothing too. That thought shook me to the core. So I packed my backpack and I left the city to reconnect with the natural world. And what a better place to go than the largest and wildest rainforest in the world, the Amazon. Little did I know, but soon, in the middle of the jungle, I was about to find out what had gone wrong. Along my journey, I met an indigenous woman, and I told her why I was there, and she said, "Gringa, to reconnect with nature and speak with the spirit of the earth again, you must heal your heart first." I wasn't sure what she meant. Then she explained that it's through the heart that we experience our connection to everything else. Through the heart and not the mind flows the love and compassion I was seeking for. If your compassion is lost, she said, be sure your heart is closed. Now, to a mind-oriented person like I was that hadn't paid much attention to the heart for years, all this sounded a bit too abstract. So how can I open my heart? I asked. Find a shaman and drink ayahuasca. She's the mother of all medicines. She can help you heal your heart. You see, the Amazon rainforest is like a living pharmacy, full of extraordinary medicinal plants that Mother Nature created for us. The indigenous people and their shamans have been working with the plants for millennia, holding and practicing ancient knowledge of what we completely forgot, which is the interconnectedness of the mind, the body, and the soul. The Amazon rainforest is a healer, but I didn't know all that just yet. I drank ayahuasca to feed the curiosity of the mind, but I received the healing my heart was begging for. As the shaman sang his Icaros, his sacred healing songs, all the layers that shaped my egoistic mind peeled off one by one. All the illusions of separation broke apart, and I went back to the pure space of the heart. And in there, I was asked to face every conflict, every fear, every pain, and every shame that was poisoning my heart for years. I had no idea that I had let so much stuff to be stuck in here. But day after day, cup after cup, song after song, one by one, I let them all go. And what a relief it was to find that underneath all that mud, there was pure eternal light. I was shown that light is love, and that inside every beating heart, the same blinding light shines. Ecstatic feelings emerged that I hadn't felt since childhood. Waves of awe for the majestic rainforest and massive gratitude for its people started pouring out of my newly opened heart. But soon, as I was on my way back to the modern world, my bliss turned to devastation as I saw hundreds of cut trees taken out of the forest through the river, vast areas burned down, polluted waters, and indigenous people begging for money in the city. I realized I was witnessing what I had read on the news not long ago. And finally, I felt something. By the time I arrived at the airport, I made a silent promise. I made a promise to return and give something back to the rainforest and its people. As I was sitting at the airport gate in tears, thinking that that day might never come, the police came in armed and stopped our flight from boarding. I never found out why. But when I finally returned home, I had received an email from the airline apologizing for the delay and offering me a ticket with the exact amount I needed to return to the Amazon. I made a promise to return, and the universe gave me a ticket. But at first, I didn't know what to do. How can one person help the world's largest rainforest? The answer came to me, and it was pure and simple. I had to spread the message. With a trembling heart, I started a campaign named Healing the Healer, a promise to the Amazon, to help me cross the rainforest, plant trees, and spread awareness of deforestation. To my eternal gratitude, people from all over the world got inspired to help me reach the goal. And 1 year ago, exactly on this day, I was back in the Amazon on a tiny boat, embarking on a mission to fulfill my promise. For the 5 months that followed, I traveled through the rainforest. Sometimes I stayed with local people, sometimes with indigenous families. Sometimes I slept in huts, other times just inside a mosquito net under the stars. In the mornings, I joined forces with other volunteers, and we planted seeds, and many, many trees in abandoned fields. And in the afternoons, I would get my camera and chase to capture the magic of the forest and talk to people to spread their messages with all those following the mission. Now, planting in deforested areas in the Amazon, under the hot tropical sun, cutting through mosquito clouds, is probably not the easiest job in the world, but it's certainly the most rewarding. Because with every seed and every tree I put into the ground, I reconnected. I reconnected with every living being. The colorful strings, those divine connections that I knew as a child, started forming all around again. I dissolved. I became one with the leaf-eating ants, the speedy hummingbirds, and the screaming frogs. I learned more in those 5 months than in my whole life. I learned that nature is a genius and patient artist. It took her 55 million years to put together the Amazon rainforest, this marvel, this fine piece of biological art. From above, it all looks green at first. This cabbage field effect stretches into the horizon, but underneath the canopy, life is having a party. Insects, flies, beetles, bees, butterflies, ants, crickets, bats, spiders, scorpions, lizards, frogs, monkeys, sloths, birds, anacondas, caimans, pink dolphins, jaguars, everybody's invited, dancing the moves of symbiosis. When you walk in at first, you're struck by the vegetation. The shapes, the forms, the patterns are unlike anything you've seen before. And then you notice the music. High-pitched, piercing sounds, rhythmic humming and buzzing, enchanting singing and howling calls echo from far. And if you're quiet enough, you get to see the party. A monkey will fly through the canopy, an enormous snail will appear crawling on a tree, a gorgeous boa might be posing in the mist. Electric blue butterflies and sparkling fireflies will come to dance around you at dusk. You may even find mushrooms that glow in the dark. I learned that nature is sacred and that every being has a spirit, every insect, every animal, every tree. The trees, these magnificent beings, grow tall, unbelievably tall, on just a thin layer of fertile ground, supporting life on every scale, from tiny little fungi to the whole planet. 390 billion of them stand tall together in the Amazon, creating a home for all the life that thrives underneath. These trees protect our climate, they cool down our planet, they clean our air from all the poisons we keep pumping into the atmosphere, and they produce 20% of the oxygen we breathe. They are the reason why the Amazon is called the lungs of our planet. And ironically, they're breathtaking. It's impossible to stand next to a 500-year-old ceiba tree in the middle of the jungle and not change forever. I learned that nature nurtures happiness. This is Damaris, my best friend from the jungle. And this is another gang that I used to hang out with. These children own pretty much nothing, but as far as I know, they are the happiest children in the world. Because they're on barefoot in this wild paradise chasing butterflies. They know the sound of every bird, and they can smell the rain before it comes. And when the sun goes down, they jump in the mightiest river in the world to swim and play in laughter. I learned that nature is fragile and defenseless to our actions. In just 40 years, we have permanently destroyed almost a quarter of this majestic rainforest with chainsaws, fires, and bulldozers for the timber and the land which it stands on. What you see at the top right in pink is what we lost already, and what you see below in orange is what we're losing as we speak. And the indigenous people, this precious piece of humanity, the guardians of the forest, are vanishing with it. There used to be 10 million natives, now less than 700,000 survive. And as they disappear, get murdered, displaced, or modernized, their cultures, their knowledge, including that of the medicinal plants that can heal our hearts, disappear with them. And the breathtaking, magnificent trees, we cut them down to turn them into furniture and floorings for our homes, or we just burn them to make space for land. And all that carbon dioxide that they were storing inside for us gets released back into the air we breathe. And the cleared land, a staggering 80% we turn into cattle fields to cover our global demand for beef. The rest we turn into soybean and palm oil plantations, dams and mining operations. This is Madre de Dios, the most biodiverse area in the Peruvian Amazon. And this is not a natural landscape. This is illegal gold mining that is savaging the forest, contaminating the waters with mercury and poisoning the surrounding communities. And this is in Ecuador, near a community of Quechua people that I stayed with, where oil companies have been drilling the forest mercilessly. And as the oil keeps spilling in the rivers, all water life disappears. And those people that once were living off the forest are now unable to sustain themselves and are often forced to work for the same oil companies that are poisoning their lands. Fact is, we are collectively trading our greatest biological treasure on earth and the air we breathe for burgers, processed foods, lipsticks, shampoos, fossil fuel, and jewelry. We are losing the most magical place on earth before we even get to know it. And all that life, the butterflies, the insects, the monkeys, and the frogs, thousands of species go extinct every year in the Amazon because as the forest shrinks, as it breaks into parts, the fragile symbiotic balance between all species falls apart. When the forest is gone, life is gone. The music stops, and the party is over. I don't know if I fulfilled my promise, but I know that giving something back made me feel fulfilled. And I know that I wouldn't have given something back if I hadn't healed my heart. That's why I believe that to heal our planet from all the wounds we're causing, we need to start looking inside for the wounds that are begging to be healed. We need to face and let go of every conflict, every fear, and every pain that is poisoning our hearts, blocking love and compassion from flowing freely through us. Because as the indigenous woman told me at the beginning of my journey, and I confirmed for myself later on, love is not something that we create on our own. It's not something we find on our path. It's something we allow to flow through us. It's always here. It's a vibrational frequency constantly and abundantly available around us. All we are asked to do is open our hearts and tap into it. Every living being does. It's what the trees tap into when they release oxygen for us to breathe. It's what the birds tap into when they wake up and sing. It's what nature taps into when she creates a rainforest. It's what connects us. Imagine a world where we all begin to connect, where we all tap into the vibration of love and we begin to see that everything is one, where we all remember that we are connected to the body of the earth the same way a baby is connected to the body of its mother, where we all accept responsibility for what we have done with an open heart. No blaming, no debating takes place, no law needs to be applied so we change our ways. A world where we all care to heal the wounds we have created, and no one has to fight to save the Amazon, because the Amazon and the whole planet are safe and healed by us already. Wouldn't it be amazing if this is our future? Well, it's in our hands, or may I say in our hearts. And the more we open our hearts, the more we see that this future is becoming a reality. More and more gatherings happen all around the world where people celebrate love and oneness and pay respect to Mother Earth. More and more people take action every day from the place of the heart. More and more moments like the one we're experiencing right now in this room will come. A great shifting is unfolding. Consciousness is rising. We are connecting, we are remembering, and we are healing. We are collectively in the process of creating a whole new world order, more powerful than the order of fear and separation that seems to be spreading so fast. The seeds have been planted. Open your heart and join the tribe. Reconnect with nature and one another. Make a promise, and the universe will give you everything you need to fulfill it. Trust me. Be fearless. Nature loves courage. Give something back, and you will be rewarded with fulfillment. Spread the message, and it will be heard. Open your heart, and you will hear a yes. Because as a wise shaman told me in the jungle, the mind always has two options, yes and no. But the heart only has one, yes. Thank you.